Hi, and welcome back to Malthia's channel. Today, I wanted to talk about three important topics that you could probably see on my title. Paradoxes. So we're going to be talking about three paradoxes, which is life, God, and money. So most people have trouble conceptualizing God, let alone accepting life itself is a paradox. We say things like, how can someone not care and not care? How can God love us but allow suffering? Why does money matter so much when we're told it doesn't? This video is for the ones asking deeper questions and for the ones who suffered and doubted, who've tried to love and lost themselves in the process. So let's alchemize that pain. Okay, so life teaches us over and over again the things that we feel the most natural, the most desire, like love, connection, unity, can also be the very things that it can do us when they're not balanced. So, what is a paradox, first of all? Let me go to the definition. A paradox is a self-contradictory statement or scenario that challenges conventional thinking. For example, you have to spend money in order to make money. Okay? That's a paradox within itself. So going back to my little script, let's start with one. Life is a paradox. So in life, you will love in doing so what I want you to know how love is a paradox. Love can be with a relationship, family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and anyone that even having a sense of puffed up ego that you may call love is within yourself. Remember, ego is personality. You have to strip that ego, that personality away, and live by your true essence, your being, which is your soul. And your soul, it's like, I've said it with my husband. Your soul is like, imagine what is soul used for? Soul is called music, like soul music, jazz music, and soul also is defined by blues, like blues. And what's the definition of blues? Sad. So through the soul, even blues is makes you like sad, like happy, because the soul can't differentiate between what is sadness because it sees everything as an experience, and so it is happy. It's happy that it's experienced those things because that makes you the person that you are looking at me within the camera right now today. So that's so beautiful, right? Because you wouldn't be here with the mind that you are thinking right now. So let's going back to this because I'm going a little bit off guard. So we long to give ourselves fully to another person, to melt into love, to dissolve the boundaries of ego. But the moment we do so without grounding, we lose our center. And in losing ourselves, we stop truly loving. Yes, we lose ourselves and we truly stop loving. I would say ourselves are the being that is stripped away. You know what movie I'm getting right now that I've been getting? I think it's called Under Her Skin or Under some, I don't really remember the title. It's with Scarlett Johansson where she's like an alien and she's living in like some skin, and basically at the end of the movie, I didn't really watch it all. Mm, I should charge my phone more often. But she's being chased, and when she's being chased, I think they want to burn her down or something. And they do, and like a being which is an alien, but I kind of remember her being like shiny and stuff. I would imagine our souls are like this illuminating light, a being within ourselves, which I think that's so beautiful. Anywho, going back to this, I'm losing off track. Okay, so going back to life being a paradox. Because real love isn't blind devotion, it's rooted in truth. In order to love someone fully, we have to be self centered, not in the ego driven sense, but in the spirit centered way, centered in truth, in purpose, and what is right. That's how we love someone without becoming them, without making them our God. We think loving someone means putting them first always, sacrificing ourselves, but the paradox is you can only love someone as deeply as you are rooted in your own identity. You have to be willing to follow the highest good, even it means walking away, even it means being misunderstood. That's the real test of love, of how much you give, but what you're willing to lose in order to remain to what is right. We live in a world where we constantly chase meaning, success, and validation. But the more we chase, the more empty we feel. In the paradox of life, you only live what you're looking for in the moment if you stop trying so hard. Yeah. So I basically wrote down everything I wanted to say about in that section. Sometimes I think of new things to say, but maybe I could always do another video. Going back to part two, God being a paradox. So, how is he a paradox? First of all, God is love, and he is silence, he is presence and absence. He gives us free will, and that's the part that most people don't want, because the freedom comes with responsibility. If God forced you to love him, it wouldn't be love at all, it would be manipulation. And that's the paradox. He cares deeply, but he doesn't force you to do what's right. We ask, why does God let bad things happen? But sometimes it's not karma. It's other people's broken creations colliding into ours. Here's what I realized through my own story. I lost my mom to a mental illness, paranoid schizophrenia. She always thought that people were after her, were following her, to the point that when I was around, it started, I think around 16 or 17, close to those ages. Her personality, the person that I knew as my mom, started dissolving into this anxious person where she thought that everyone was after her. In reality, nobody was. So what ended up happening is that we ended up losing contact. It's been 12 years since no contact, and I would constantly would ask myself, why did this happen to me? Why, what kind of karma did I deserve this? Why? Like why? Why would anyone deserve to have somebody to grow up in that sense, you know? It's a hard thing to understand why do the most hardest things happen to a person, the most horrible things, not just me in general, but other people that been through the worst. So they probably, or maybe you were probably in that same spot. So I realized through that I had so much love to give, but no boundaries, no self-respect. I didn't protect the vessel that God lived in, which was me. God didn't rescue me in the way that I expected. Instead, he gave me something better, the ability to transform my pain into a purpose. But here's another truth. We are our, we are our own creators, but we're not. We shape our paths through choices, but the breathe, the body, the soul, that was a gift. We are creators with borrowed tools, building in borrowed time, and still God lets us create. Yeah. Money is a paradox. Now let's talk about the green. Most people make them money their God. Sorry, I had to burp. Confirmation burp, I guess. Money is important, but it's not everything. We all love, we all know that, but do we live like we do I know how to read it? We all know that, but do we live like we know that? We see people with millions who are still depressed, they travel the world bought the cars, bought the, dream house, done it all, and yet there's still something missing. That's the paradox. They have it all and they still feel empty. Meanwhile, others have less and told you should be happy. At least you have food. Or at least, but that's dismissive because the soul doesn't thrive on money, it thrives on meaning. A lot of people are living in an autopilot, prostituting themselves. Sorry about that word, but I feel like it's the truth. Like most of you guys prostitute yourselves for money. Um it doesn't have to be literal, but I mean metaphorical. There's some that do, but it's not, I'm not judging on that because either way we all do. We sell our time, we sell our peace, our authenticity for a paycheck. And I'm not saying, oh, like, oh, you're going through 9 to 5 and blah blah blah, and you're no, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that a lot of people nowadays, they think that, look, I want to get the nice car, I want to get the nice house, I want to get this, I want to get that. And it all revolves around money, right? But why do you want the nice car? Why do you want the nice house? Why do you want everything that is so nice, right? Why do you want it? Why do you want it? The reason is you want the validation. You want the women. You want the, maybe the men. I don't know. um you want the validation, you want to be on top, like, look at me, look at me, look at me, I'm doing pretty good. What about you? You get me? Everybody thinks that's the source of happiness. Everybody thinks that money is the source of happiness and that money is the ultimatum. But how do you call it? Like I said, we let money decide our worth, who we associate with, how we treat others, and in doing so, we slowly die inside. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Basically, it's it's kind of sad. Like, there's sometimes in places and work that they don't respect you, and people just keep on like putting their head down, like, okay, 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 and don't even like, they wake up miserable, waking up knowing that they have to go to work. And I'm gonna be honest, I used to go to work too. I used to do warehouse jobs and all that, and there was times where I would wake up miserable and I didn't want to go to work. I felt like I my time there, I was selling a part of myself that I did not like. I did not like associating myself with these people. I didn't, and some people just stay stuck there for years, even though although they don't like associating with those people, their coworkers. It's like, if you feel that way, uh, quit. Honestly, quit. Not like think about it. Do a smart move. Pick the beginning of the month. I suggest the beginning of the month, because how are you going to look for another job if you're in the job working, right? So you have to be smart with your time. Pick at the beginning of the month, quit, and then you at least have like 2 weeks in order, or at least enough money, I would hope, for like 2 weeks until your new paycheck arrives. I'm thinking about the way that I used to work back when the warehouse. I don't know. Um, 2 weeks, and then by then you're gonna have your paycheck, right? So you should be good until the end of the month, and then you'll start getting back on track each month. So it's going back to this. So let's take, for example, Jesus. Jesus had no house, no car, and yet his name echoes through the centuries because he lived with humility. No, not for wealth, but for truth. um and if we're being honest, we don't own anything. The Bible says the wise, the ignorant both die, and that's what happens to everything we've gathered. It goes to someone else. Who knows if they'll appreciate it? So tell me, are you chasing what matters? Yeah, tell me if you're chasing what matters down below. Comment down below if you're chasing what matters. But yeah, I hope you are really living with your truth, your authenticity, who you really want to be, your talents, because no one has the same talents as you. Let's say for example, I had a friend that did real estate, and she would always want me to do real estate. At the beginning, she would push me to do like business, real estate, and there was a part of me that was like, yeah, yeah, but no, that wasn't for me. That would never be for me because I can't see myself doing that. It goes for everybody else. You can't be somebody else. You can't be your friend. You can't be your mom. You can't be what your mom tells you or your dad tells you or what your coworkers you should be. You are your own person. So every each individual is unique and has their own different way of thinking. So appreciate your mind, appreciate and be grateful. So my final thoughts would be everything we talked about, life, God, money, love, they're all paradoxes. You have to lose to find, let go to receive. Love yourself enough to love others without attachment. And God doesn't need you, but He would love to walk with you, just like you want people to choose you freely. So does He. Remember, when you're in a relationship, and I would want to say this, if you're in a relationship and you find out your partner is cheating on you, that you're not the first option, that's the same way that God feels when you're going to other gods, when you're praying to your rocks, when you're praying to your crystals, when you're praying to your images, when you're praying to the saints, because there's only one God and there's only one person that could lead you to the heavenly Father, and that's Jesus. Which Jesus went up on that cross voluntarily, showing His love to us. So that's what he wants. He doesn't want you to manipulate his love. Don't think that if you're going to go to Sunday each just to go to heaven, because some people do think that. Some people give Christians a bad rep. Some people say it with their mouths like, "Oh, I'm Christian. I'm Christian." But some Christian people are the most have the Pharisee spirit within them, where they talk bad about other people and they give people a bad name. Like, we should love every human being, and that includes, maybe it's controversial, but let's say the homosexualities, the racists, the I would even say the furries. I used to say things about the furries. I'm sorry. I had a lot of a lot of pent up anger over um things that didn't really matter, and I didn't see the fact that these were people that just needed love. They were made in God's image, and you need to love them as well. Just like as the homeless people, th- let's associate them to the people that were with leprosy back in the day. You look down on them, but they're just human people. They were once babies, they were somebody's daughter, they were somebody's son, they were somebody's brother, you know, grandparents, and you need to open your eyes that everyone is made in God's image and is a being of love, because everyone wants to be loved. So I'm going to say in conclusion, be grateful for the experiences that made you. Be thankful for the strength in the person that's standing before you today. And remember, living is more valuable than anything you'll ever own. Your sanity, your health, and the person that you are today. Yeah, we take a lot of things for granted until we're on our, let's say, deathbed, or we needing a kidney, or like for example, my my mom. I would like to say again, I never got to see her again, and how do you call it? As much as that would hurt me back then, now I know that she more than anybody would want me to be living a life full of happiness and experiences and living my life to the fullest and not getting down over the fact that she's gone, okay? And some people are going to be gone in your life, and you have to cherish those moments with them, love them, be grateful of your mind, be grateful of the little things in life when you wake up in the morning. And remember that there's a God, there's Jesus. Jesus loves you very much, and you're a great human person, being, being human person, whatever. And most importantly, don't take anything at face value. Question it, think for yourself. Not everything you hear is truth just because it sounds good. Truth has a resonance, and your spirit knows when something aligns. Be bold enough to strip that away, the noise that meets yourself in the silence. Be your truest self, not the self that others told you to be, but the one that you were always meant to be. And that's where freedom is. That's where God meets you. All right. Well, thank you for coming back to my channel, listening to what I have to say. I really do appreciate it. If you like what I had to say, please like, subscribe if you want to. I will keep continuing doing videos. I am new to this, and I hope I can only get better throughout the time with speaking and actually not doing scripts because sometimes I have a lot of thoughts, and I hope to put these thoughts out into videos and eventually for everybody to morph my scripts or my thoughts into their own beings or whatever they want to take as advice. Thank you and have a beautiful day. Bye.